If you're like me, you've been playing a lot of Nightreign, and I'm going to try to take a lot of data and condense it down very fast. So this might be a very dense video, but maybe you listen to it a couple of times in the background. But I'm going to go over some facts, tips, and tricks about Nightreign and reading the map that I think are very helpful. If you want to know more about the basics, Jonah went over that in a video that's really good to tell you how to just read the map. Now I'm going to say, now that you can read it, let's see what we can do more with the map and some other different things about each location. And I'm going to try to make this as fast as possible, but it's going to require some upfront knowledge. So make sure you've watched his video before you get this one or have played a good amount of Nightreign. So let's get into how to read the map the way that I do it now that I've seen Jonah's and I know some extra stuff. Kind of think about it part two. Spawning into this map here, for instance, we have a few spots around us, and I can immediately tell you some things about them. Because Jonah told me, I know up there is going to be a blood ruins, so it's going to be the blood element on a weapon if I beat that ruins. But most important to me, since I already know that part, I can tell you what boss is going to be there. Because it's a ruins and it has the blood attribute, only one boss can spawn there, and it's Sanguine Noble. As for the fort, I call these forts, the little icon here, if it's a bridge fort, there's only two people that can be there. And if it's a magic fort, I already know it's going to be a bridge fort, which takes the longer run up the bottom bit, and who's going to be at the top. If it's a bridge fort, but it's neutral, there is no attribute, then I already know who's going to be there because only one person spawns in a bridge fort. That's not magical. Now, if it's a neutral fort, but you can't even see it at all, then we have to guess. It could be a bridge fort, which in that case we know who's going to be there. It could be a normal fort. In that case, it could be version Abductor or the Carrion Knight at top. And is it the Carrion Knight? Just the Knight at the top. While I'm dropping in, I'm able to tell you all these things about them. And the moment that I'm, of course, from the air going to spot, there's a bridge, I can tell you who's there. So I'm thinking about the routing I want to take. And I almost always want to land and immediately hit a flask. And if not, I pick what I think we can take easily enough between us and a flask. That's kind of my start. Get us that first one, just to rough out the edges in case we have problems, get us those first levels and whatnot. Now for the cathedral near us, it's a neutral cathedral, which means I don't know who's going to be there. There's only two variations and no simple way to tell from afar who's going to be there. So you're either going to run close and see the demi-humans and know it's going to be a golem, or you're going to run close and see the mausoleum knight people and you're going to know it's a mausoleum knight at the bottom. So in any instance, you can start to get near it and know, can you take it or not, so you don't waste time. Because an instance that you will definitely waste time is, let's say, a neutral camp and you're going to run at it and you're running through the storm and it's neutral camp. It could be Leonin Misbegotten, who is just an absolute walk over him boss. But if it's Banished Knights, they're spread out, so you can't just walk over them both, because if they're not together next to each other, you're doing damage to only one, you need to kill three. And then there's the one that's off to the side. They do that stupid air attack that pushes you back but does no damage. It just wastes time. I always will avoid in the storm doing Banished Knights unless we're at a good lead, because I know they just take so long. It's better to get ahead of the storm and do whatever I gotta do. It can always depend. Also, in these camps, look for these guys with the little treasure chests. If you kill them, they have a chance to drop a Smithing Stone 1, so you can just upgrade your base weapon if you need to, or whatever you've got if you've not upgraded yet. If this is your first camp you're doing, it's just easier to know that. But that's just to say, every camp has a certain boss. So what I'm going to do is my best to run down them all very quickly. I'm not going to give any recommendations. I'm just going to tell you the general, who's going to be where and how to tell. So for camps, we have neutral camps. There can be 3 people inside of a neutral camp. Elder Lion, Banished Knight, and they spawn the variation of the camp without a siege tower. See a siege tower, know you're dealing with one of those two. Easiest to run to the back, and if you see a Banished Knight on the way or at the back, you know it's Banished Knights. Otherwise, it's Elder Lion in the same spot. If it is a camp with a siege tower, you know it's going to be Leonin Misbegotten, and that's super easy to know from a distance. Now, camp again, siege tower with fire is going to be Red Mage Knights. No siege tower, it's going to be the Flame Chariots. Those are insta-kill, super easy. They're a great early boss if you can get the crit spot on them. I don't believe there's any variation of a holy camp, but there is lightning, and a lightning camp will always be the golden little knight dudes. There's 3 of them, one at the siege tower, one in the middle, and one at the bottom near the siege tower. I don't think there's a flat variation of that, so we can move on to next. Madness will always be the frenzied troll in the back. Single guy, kill him, move on. Both of these have a merchant. All these, siege tower or non-siege tower variation, both have merchants. You just need to know where they're going to be. They're always going to be in the same spot. One will be outside the camp if there's a siege tower. The other will be near the boss at the back if it has Banished Knights, Frenzy Troll, whatever. You'll notice they're the same layout regardless of the attribute. It's either Siege Tower or not. There's no such thing as a poison version of it that I know of. I don't think I'm missing a type. You got lightning, fire. There's no frost version. So yeah, that's pretty much all the camp locations. Let's move on to forts. Forts spawn in either neutral or magic. For magic, you know it'll be a bridge fort. It will always be the Crystalline at the top with the different sorcerers around. Notice that for the Crystalline fight, the mage in the back is also a part of that fight. So you might X him if you're playing alone because he can just pop you with a pebble before you get hit by a random stray and then you die. So he's a part of that fight for some reason. I don't know why. I think they should have just put 2 Crystallines up there, but their bag, not mine. If it's not a magic fort, it's going to be either Meteor Golem or the guy who shoots the arrow. It will be the Virgin Abductor, which when you get close to the fort, if you don't see a bridge, you immediately know it'll be a really easy one to take. So it'll either be the Knight at the top or the Virgin Abductor. And you can even tell further if you get near the fort and see damage numbers pop up, then you know it's going to be a Virgin Abductor. That's my preferred one because he's already killing the enemies. So you get to hop in there and get free souls for the kills he's getting, especially if you're Revenant. You can pop them at the end and get their ghosts, which is super nice. Cathedrals, they will spawn in a few variations. We've got Fire, we've got Holy, and we've got Neutral. I don't think there's any sort of other variation on that. It's Fire or Holy or Neutral. In Neutral, it's either going to be the Golem with the staff or Mausoleum Knight. You'll know once you get close. There's no real way to tell from those ones. Otherwise, Holy Cathedral is going to be the Bubble Blowing Babies, the Oracle Envoys, kill the Bubble Blowers. And then for the Fire one, it will always be the Fire Monk. I don't think there's another option for those. Ruins, the Ruins I think have the most diversity of what can be there, but they always kind of have the same trick. Usually they're in the back corner of the Ruins, so you know where to go look through. If you're new to the game, my recommendation is look for doorways in the Ruins and run through those, because once you pass through one, there'll usually be another that you can spot just from there. And by running through them, you'll typically find the boss or the route they walk. If it's a Frost Ruins, it's Albinaric Archers or the Ancient Knights of Zamora, I think they're called, the skinny guys with ice. You can tell from a distance if you see jellyfish or if you see wolves. Wolves means Albinaric Archers, jellyfish means Knights of Zamora. Poison Ruin, you'll know when you see Miranda flowers that it's going to be Perfumer. I think there's an option of Disgraced Perfumer, but that might be the holy version of the camp. But either way, they're very easy and they're in the same spot. If it's a Lightning Ruin, you're going to see the Beastmen of Fara Missoula in the back. If it's a neutral ruin, I recommend never doing it, ever. It's the Burial Watchdogs. I just find that it gives you a neutral drop, which means low chance for anything that you need that has an element that you want. So I just don't really see the point in doing it because the Burial Watchdogs are split up and they just have such good resistance to damage and poise breaking. They waste a lot of time because they do a lot of floating in the air. It's kind of annoying. So neutral ruins, you're going to be looking at Burial Watchdogs. Magic Ruins, you're going to be looking at the Battle Mages. They walk in a weird path. Just look for doorways. You'll find them. Let's see. We've got Lightning. We got Bleed is going to be Sanguine Noble every time. Lightning, Fire, Ice, Holy. Yeah, I think that's going to be all the ones for the Ruins. So yeah, after that, you have your other normal things. But it's cool to know that when you get close enough, start paying attention to who's where because they'll constantly be there. Now for a few just fast tips for you. When you're at the cathedrals, always check behind the altar. Here there'll be a chest. It's worthless except for one item, which is the Stone Sword Key. So open it, step away. If you see purple, you got it. If you don't see purple, you missed it. So if you already have one, you can run over it and it'll pick it up automatically. No need to stand there. If you've not gotten one yet, just go over to the purple, pick it up and go. Whatever dropped out of there, otherwise, is probably not going to be worth it. And I've never seen a purple drop that is not a Stone Sword Key. So you can check here. If it is the cathedral and it's Bubble Blowing Babies or some variations, the chest is on the second floor. You can jump up here and you'll see a platform right here with some bubble blowers at it. You can go over there, hit it, and you don't need to fight them. Just open the chest, and if you see purple, grab it and go. You're good to go. As for field bosses, they spawn in the consistent locations. My favorite one is in the lake. That's the most obvious one for most people. You'll notice there's usually a church near the lake. You go to the chapel near the lake, and then you grab your little health pot, and then in the lake there'll be a boss. When you go up to approach it, if you're not sure how hard the boss is, just know generally when you go to attack it or go near it and it aggros, on the map will spawn an icon for it. If it has red eyes or red on the icon, then it is a day 2 field boss. As in, you probably need to be level 9 or above to have a good to easy chance of fighting it. Once you're above like 12, you're meant to be fighting at that level. They're still not easy depending on who you're fighting. But if you're below that, you're looking at one-shot territory for 9 or below, especially with their like big AoE moves. Deathrite Bird's horrible. Erdtree Avatar. Once you know who they are, you'll start to recognize who the day 2 suite is and who the day 1 is. Day 1, you're looking at things like Royal Revenant, Grafted Scion, Leon and Misbegotten could be there. Some of those are easy. Day 2, you're looking at Erdtree Avatar, Magma Worm, Deathrite Bird. They get separated by that, and you'll start to be able to tell from a distance who you're looking at and whether you can take them now or later. As for the castle, we never can know anything about the castle. That's what makes it fun. You're going to find out which one it's going to be, Crucible Knights, Banished Knights, or Trolls being the worst for most times. But in the basement, you'll also find a boss. I recommend you run through the basement just to spot who it is, then go to this tree outside to grab extra souls before you kill them, if it's something you can kill. If it's like the bell-bearing hunter, there's no reason to go do this. He'll take too long. The buff will wear out. But if it's something with low poise and you've got a couple ults, you should just go right up there, grab it, and then go back in there, get that extra 10%, I think it is, extra souls. Worth it every time. You also get a trinket out of this. If you see this merchant location here, it's marked by a little town on the map. You go there. This merchant's different. No, he's not the same as the other ones. If you're like a revenant and you need starlight shards, he sells an unlimited amount. So he's great for that. He sells a level 2 smithing stone, some weapons. If you really need one of a specific type, I believe he sells more purples than normal merchants do. So you can just check real quick. And he sells an Erd Tree favor and a dagger talisman every time. So if you're a spellcaster, he is great to see on the map. And for a cheap cost, you can upgrade all your weapons, so you don't need to go to the mines that run, because the mines are really only worth it if everyone in the party needs to buff a weapon. Otherwise, I feel like it's a waste of time, because if you just killed another castle boss, there's a good chance you would have gotten a purple weapon out of it. Then the last note I have really is just learn your shifting earths. The shifting earths always are like a day 2 activity, and you can memorize what's at certain spots for them. I think the most confusing one personally, or the kind of most boring, is the mountain, because it's just got the field bosses in set locations, and every buff you get is really good. If you're going to fight Fisher in the Fog, it's the best one to get, but otherwise it's just kind of boring, and I hate having to do it day 2. And I think the last little bit to tell you is, if you've been fighting the purple bosses, I'm going to say this as a joke, but try 3 raiders. Did that, beat that boss first try. I think the best shifting earth for beating bosses is going to be the I've had really good luck on the Scarlet Woods. You go in there, there's always going to be a different spawn for the flower, but fun fact, you do not need to get the map to find the flower. If you know the locations and you're running to the map and you're going to cross past where one of the flowers can spawn, it's worth it just to check it on the way, because it'll save you time. You can grab that power, but that one's super nice for Raider if you do a 3 Raider team, because you gain health back on hits. And if you poise break it once and you got hit by a big move, you'll get all your health back for it. Noxtella is a good one, but it's just Estelle's a hard boss. Meanwhile, with the Rotted Woods, you get, if you hit level 9 and you're on a good timing and you go straight to the Rotted Woods, you can clear almost all of the field bosses before the end of the day. Especially if you hit some easy ones to kill, like the Erd Tree Avatar is just such a pushover by comparison of day 2 bosses. But if you're unlucky, you'll get like every guy on a horse. The guys on the horse suck because they get poise broken, but they don't get crit, so you can't extend the poise break out longer, and they're just resistant to most things and run around a lot. So I mean, least favorite's Deathrite Bird, but, you know, take your pick. Ulcerated Tree Spirit's like a chef's kiss. I love fighting that thing. But really nothing else to say about it. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I played too much of it. I really enjoyed talking about it. So if you have any questions about it or recommendations you need, like how to beat a certain boss, I've beaten almost every boss solo, I think, at this point. So I have my ideas on what I think is useful and makes it easy. But in time, you'll get good at every boss. You'll beat everything if you just give it time. It's just hard because getting to those final day bosses is a 40-minute affair, and then you get 10 minutes of learning if you don't die instantly. So my recommendation is big health bar, longer to learn. So take care and peace.